Christopher Columbus. We all grew up hearing the story. Christopher Columbus discovered America. Sounds heroic, right? Except it's completely wrong. People had been living across the Americas for tens of thousands of years. Entire civilizations, cultures, cities, way before Columbus even packed his bags. And fun fact, the Viking explorer Leif Erikson landed in North America around the year 1000, almost 5 centuries before Columbus showed up. So what did Columbus actually do? He wasn't the discoverer, more like the loud messenger who took the news back to Europe and set off an age of colonization. Thanks to politics, school textbooks, and a lot of statues, he still gets the credit. But the reality? Columbus didn't find America. He basically walked into a house that had been lived in for ages, and then claimed the living room as his own.
Goldfish. Goldfish only have a 3-second memory. You're being led around by the whole world. Actually, goldfish have super sharp memories. They can remember things for weeks to months, or even longer, if they are trained regularly. Scientists once had goldfish swim through mazes, and guess what? They not only solved it, but also remembered the route months later. Some of them can even distinguish music, swim through hoops like circus performers, and even recognize their owners. So next time someone calls you a goldfish brain, just smile. Because actually a goldfish brain is better than many people think. Apple. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. Sounds like a magical potion from a fairy tale, doesn't it? Apples are indeed rich in fiber and vitamins, good for both cardiovascular health and digestion. But the bad news is, eating apples won't make you immortal. Eating too much can also cause stomach upset, bloating, gas, making you feel like you've activated mobile balloon mode. And of course, an apple cannot replace regular health checkups or a balanced diet. In short, eating apples is good, but if you rely on them alone, you'll end up seeing a doctor sooner or later.
Bat. Have you ever heard the saying, blind as a bat? That makes sense, because bats do fly erratically in the dark. But the truth is, saying a blind bat is like saying a dolphin is afraid of water. It's completely absurd. In fact, bats have quite good eyesight in low light. Sometimes even better than humans at dusk or dawn. It's just that the night is too dark, so bats activate their personal radar superpower, echolocation, to hunt accurately and move.
Lightning. Lightning never strikes the same place twice. It sounds cool, but in reality, it's completely wrong. Lightning can absolutely strike the same spot multiple times, even within seconds, repeatedly in a single day, or over centuries. A prime example is the Empire State Building, which is struck by lightning dozens of times each year. Additionally, some areas on Earth frequently become meeting points for lightning, due to factors such as altitude, conductivity, and geographical location. In other words, lightning not only strikes the same place twice, but it's also a die-hard fan that likes to return. Love isn't even as persistent as lightning.
Giraffes. Many people think giraffes don't have vocal cords and can't make sounds. But that's a misunderstanding. Actually, a long neck makes it difficult for the vocal cords to vibrate, so the sound of a giraffe is extremely quiet. Or it may even be beyond our hearing range. Imagine this. That long neck is like an Australian Aboriginal didgeridoo. When the airflow from the lungs goes up the neck and through the tiny vocal cords, it creates a super special psh sound. You'll hear this sound mainly when giraffes crane their necks. So, next time someone calls a giraffe a silent supermodel, feel free to argue back. They're not silent at all. They just make very soft sounds. Shh.
Benjamin Franklin. Benjamin Franklin is the US president because he appears on the $100 bill. Sorry, you just got trolled by history. Actually, he's never held the office of president. Franklin was one of the 7 great founding fathers who helped draft the Declaration of Independence and the United States Constitution. Not only that, Franklin was a scientist who invented the lightning rod and bifocals, and an excellent diplomat who persuaded France to help America gain independence. In short, the reason Franklin is on the $100 bill is because of his enormous contributions to America, not because he was president.
Have 5 senses. Humans have 5 senses: sight, smell, taste, hearing, and touch. Is that all? You're wrong. Science shows we have more than that. Besides the 5 basic senses, you also have a sense of balance that helps you walk straight without wobbling, a sense of temperature so you don't accidentally pick up a cup of boiling coffee, a sense of pain to warn you of danger, and especially proprioception, your body's internal GPS. Try closing your eyes and touching your nose. Proprioception is the valuable assistant that helps you do that. So, you don't just have 5 senses, you have at least 8. In other words, you are the low-cost Marvel version, but made in real life.
Crocodile, have you heard the saying crocodile tears? Everyone thought crocodiles cried out of pity for their prey, but it turns out they were completely wrong. In reality, when tearing flesh, crocodiles breathe heavily, their jaw muscles work at full capacity, causing air to be forced through the tear ducts. And that's why tears pour down like a rainstorm. However, this is merely a physiological reflex to wash the eyes and flush out food particles, and is completely unrelated to emotion. In other words, crocodile tears are like when you eat level 7 spicy noodles and your eyes and nose are streaming, but you're not moved at all. Breakfast. Everyone has heard the saying, breakfast is the most important meal of the day, but the truth is that's not entirely accurate. This slogan is famous primarily due to Kellogg's marketing campaign to sell cereal, and it has no scientific basis whatsoever. However, that doesn't mean Kellogg invented the concept of breakfast, or that it wasn't considered important before his marketing campaign. Breakfast was actually quite common in ancient times, especially because many people had to do manual labor and needed energy early in the day to work. But for those following the keto diet or intermittent fasting, skipping breakfast is perfectly normal. In other words, what matters isn't whether you eat breakfast or not, but what you eat overall throughout the day.